live from Orlando. Louise and I are here at the seminar on Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and I'm so happy to have in the, well, we're not in the studio, but here in the hotel with me, Kathleen La Valle. Kathleen is a master trainer in Neuro-Linguistic Programming and Design Human Engineering. She is the program director of NLP Seminars Group International. The website is purenlp.com. Same
Absolutely.
website. Okay, great. And Kathleen, welcome.
Thank you. Welcome, Thom. I'm
great
glad to
having
be
you
here.
Me too. I'm so glad you're here. You are one of the most impressive people to me. I should tell our listeners and viewers. Louise and I are studying this stuff. We're learning, and Kathleen has been one of the trainers, and I've been through NLP trainings all the way back to the early '80s. And you are so clear. You are so good at what you do, and I'm so happy to have you with us. So,
we're happy to have you at the seminars too.
Well, thank you.
Because I've been waiting to meet you.
It's great. Yeah, me too. So let's start out. 2 days ago I asked Richard, what is NLP? An hour ago I asked John, what is NLP? I'm curious from your point of view, what is NLP?
So it's my turn.
Your thoughts?
Well,
and also, some people just tuned in.
Yeah, of course. So NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and neuro referring to the brain and how the brain works, linguistic referring to language that we use, and programming refers to the sequencing or the packaging, parceling of information in our brain. So for many people, we know how to use our brain for the most part, but we're not always aware of our language. So the language we use inside our brain when we talk to ourselves and the language that we use with others. There's so much more we can learn about that to be able to use it better. And the sequencing of information in the brain, some of us have great strategies. We can get up in the morning, fabulous, but we stare at the checkbook and we go, I should check that, I should balance that later. So how do you learn to use the strategies you have and to build ones that you need to have?
That's a really good, concise, and to that, I'll tell you a short story, and then I'd love you to unpack my story if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
I was teaching a workshop. This was for people who were, quote, learning disabled, ADHD kids, adults rather, and years ago. And I simply asked the room, I said, who has trouble getting up in the morning? And some hands went up. And I said, who doesn't have trouble getting up in the morning? Who easily pops up? And other hands went up. And I asked people, are you willing to share what goes on inside your head when you wake up? And the first person who stood up, she said, I have a terrible time getting up in the morning. And I said, so what happens, and in fact, she said, I have 2 alarm clocks and they both have snooze buttons. So I go through 4 snooze buttons before I'm out of bed. So I said, what goes through your mind? And she said, I imagine myself showing up late at work, and then I imagine my boss firing me. And then I imagine myself not having a paycheck. And then I imagine myself losing my apartment. And then I imagine myself on the street living in a cardboard box. And then I imagine some guy beating the crap out of me because I'm sleeping on the street. And this is what she had to do to wake up. Now, then I asked the fellow who said, he wakes up in the morning and he has no problem. And maybe I'm mixing the genders here, but whatever. And yeah, it doesn't matter. And he said, I love talking to people. And so when I wake up in the morning, I imagine the conversations I'm going to have with people at work today. And I'm just so curious about what's going to be talked about. Now, why are those strategies consequential? What do those mean? And what does that tell you about how we can transform our own experience of motivation in life?
Sure. Well, motivation can be motivated by thinking about the things that we're going to avoid. So some people actually work better with that. You can sort of, dangle the carrot, or not hit with the stick, but hold the stick and warn. So there's different ways that people motivate. So, but she went through such a long, lengthy process of thinking about all the negative things. Who the heck would want to get out of bed after that? That's going to be the rest of your day. You're going to go to work, you're going to get fired, living in a cardboard box, getting beaten up. I mean, she's just dumping an incredible amount of negative, what we call bad brain juice. Yeah. Because when you think those bad thoughts, when you have those really bad, you know, you're practicing almost how it would feel if this was a horrible thing that happened to me. You're also, your brain doesn't know the difference. So it's dumping those chemicals, you know, that are created in those negative states. And you're creating bad brain juice. And in bad brain juice, it's hard to motivate. It's hard to make decisions. It's hard to do things. Now, the other guy that's thinking about all the wonderful things that are going to happen that day, then simply he's already filling his brain with really good brain juice. So he's very motivated to get out of bed. Now, so it doesn't mean that it always has to be positive, but when she's in that loop of spending so much time with the negatives, you know, someone might have a strategy for getting up and they say, well, I wake up and I say, hey, at least I woke up. It's a good day. You know, the sun is shining. But, you know, this bed feels so comfortable. And then you think, oh, no, I don't want to be late, you know, and deal with my boss. And then you get out of bed. That's a little bit different. They're still doing that towards away from, you know, but not with spinning and all the negative things. So her strategy just had a very elongated sort of loop that really wasn't, you know, eventually it got her out of bed, but it probably wasn't getting her out of bed in a very good state. So you want to know the result of the strategy as well.
Right, and I think the result was that she was somewhat disabled by that.
Sure.
And so if you were working with her and teaching her how to make her brain work better, what would you say? What would you do?
Well, I would definitely find out more about her in terms of how she does motivate, because I'm sure there's something she's motivated to do. You know, whether it, you know, be simple like she loves dogs or she loves cats. So if you walking down the street and you saw somebody with the most adorable dog, she'd be very motivated to walk up to the person and go, oh, so cute, can I pet him? Or, you know, so there's something that somebody's motivated about. And I want to know how she does that. So that, how do you motivate yourself? I know it's not getting up in the morning, but I want to know, is she even possible to motivate herself with better feelings?
So just explicitly
and
ask
then
her?
Use that strategy. Yeah, I'd say, what are you motivated about? You know, that's a lot of work to get up in the morning. What's something that you're motivated to do and it just springs you into action? You don't have to loop through all these horrible things to do it. I'd want to know how she does that one, because that strategy works, but it's not really getting her good results. So I'd want to know something that's more compact, and then maybe help her to attach that to the content of getting up in the morning.
So just take that, here's how I like.
Yeah, I see a dog, I feel great, I can start to talk to myself like, oh, I'm going to go ask her if I can pet it. So I would take those elements of the modalities and build a strategy for getting up in the morning.
This ties into how people relate in marriage, how, in relationships, in initiating relationships, meeting people.
Sure.
In business, in politics, even discussing politics. What do you do when you're at Thanksgiving dinner and crazy Aunt Uncle Ralph goes off on his you know, favorite Fox News rant or MSNBC rant, your choice. You know, all those things, and I'd like to dig a little deeper into some of those things with you. We have just a minute until we're going to hit a break here.
Sure.
But the two strategies that I described, I think one involved the guy hearing his conversations, and the other was she was seeing her pictures. Is there a typical preference for one of you?
I don't think that people have a particular preference, or there's a percentage of this visual people, auditory people. I mean, I think we do everything. I mean, our brain does everything. But in certain situations, we kind of favor one or the other. But the key is to have the ability and the wherewithal to realize that if we're not connecting, and then I got to start listening. Are we on the same level? Am I saying I'm going to show you I love you, and you're saying, well, why don't you just tell me? You know, then it's time to step back and realize that you're talking different languages sometimes. But it's not that I'm always visual or you're always auditory.
Yeah, remarkable stuff. We're talking with Kathleen La Valle. She is a master trainer in Neuro-Linguistic Programming and Design Human Engineering. She's the program director of NLP Seminars Group International. Her website is purenlp.com. And Kathleen can stick around with us for a while if you have any questions for her. We'll be right back. The number is 202-808-9925.